Hello, y'all. I'm Pluto the Fool, and those are some chapters, huh? Now that chapters 3 and 4 are out, and we have a bit more information, I'm quite happy to say that I was right about the night, and you are all now legally required to send me a formal apology. That's all this video is for. There's nothing else. There's no crazy amount of new information that's made me claw at the walls of my room since the chapters came out. Okay, yeah, you know what? The deal with the knight is a little odd. So, naturally, I'm going to be talking about who I think the knight could be. My current opinion on the matter is not as black and white as it was before, so hopefully my ideas aren't as controversial as that Gaster video. Hopefully this video also gets seen by more than 4 people. Without further ado, let's look into the options. So first, I think we can cut out, like, most of Hometown. It's not Chris or Susie, it's very likely not like Sans or something. Papyrus is a popular idea for some reason, but I'm not sure it makes any sense. I'll explore that idea anyway though, I don't want to discredit anything without evidence. It's not Undyne, probably not Alvin. Alvin has no connection to the knight right now, and the main thing he did have, that whole thing with the hammer, was explained, so... Right now, unless I'm missing something, the candidates for the night are probably obvious to y'all already. Des, Carol, Rudy, and Papyrus, I guess. Oh, and Asgore. Asgore is shown in the prophecy though, and it's pretty clear he's going to be his own thing, likely in chapter 5, so I don't really think so. He has a black shard, but not much of a motivation for anything, so probably not. Unfortunately, I'll have to say that he's not a candidate. Sorry, Asgore. First up, then, is Rudy. The holidays all have antlers, so I'm not going to mention it every time, just remember that as a piece of evidence. Anyway, Rudy is an interesting candidate to me, as although I don't personally find him likely, it would be really cool if he was the villain all along. Rudy might be trying to save Des from wherever she is. Maybe his sickness is caused by him going into the Dark Worlds. Maybe he opened the Dark Fountain in the church and ran over to the hospital. But then, the knight is in the church still, and Rudy isn't. The knight also seems exceptionally strong. I don't doubt the Dark Worlds heal you a bit, but I doubt they make you nigh unstoppable. Also, Rudy in this case would know what the roaring does, right? What makes him think that ending the world would save anyone? Hell, Des might not even be dead. Can't he just pull her out of the Dark World in the shelter? This candidate is intriguing, but ultimately not likely. Next would be Carol. She's cold, scary, definitely willing to kill to get what she wants. I see the motive, honestly. Perhaps she believes everyone has to die for her daughter to be brought back. Rudy might think that too, but Carol would be more likely to do it. We see how cruel she can be, with her likely being abusive to Noelle, implied by her intro scene. I can't imagine what kind of argument is happening in that kitchen. Oh. Right. She's still in the house while the knight is in the church. And sure, she could have made the fountain and then left, but her getting back there so quickly doesn't make much sense. This also takes out Noelle, though I know not many suspect her anyway. Before I get to Des, what about Papyrus? And what about him? The only pieces of evidence, as far as I can tell, are they look vaguely similar, and we haven't seen Papyrus yet. And honestly, I just don't think Toby would make an Undertale character the main villain. And at the same time, Papyrus wouldn't hurt anyone to achieve whatever goal he's going for. And on that note, what goal would he be going for? Why in the world? What, did Gaster tell him to do it? If any one of you says yes to that, I'm throwing rocks at you. So then, what about Des? Yeah, it's probably her. You guys were probably expecting this, come on. The bat, she's left-handed, she was clearly stuck in the dark. The cursed sister thing. Her leitmotif is even in Black Knife. Okay, that one's a bit iffy, honestly. That motif is actually the door from chapter 1, which seems to be a general motif for darkness itself. We also know where the bat is. It's in her room, though she's likely just manifesting a new one. The knight also isn't actually left-handed, and seems to be ambidextrous, as they use both hands for different things. The cursed sister thing could simply be in reference to Des being trapped, and her being trapped doesn't necessarily mean she became the knight. I mean, there isn't really anything showing that something like that could even happen to Lightners. As far as we know, Lightners only change their outfit and color scheme in the Dark World. They don't become shapeshifters. And on top of that, motivation. Why in the world? How is she seemingly trapped in the Dark World if she can freely leave? Why is she evil now? Darkness isn't inherently evil, so her being exposed to it wouldn't make her evil. And yes, saying Gaster did it is a cop-out. Why the hell would he make some random 20-year-old into the devil? What fucking science do you think he's doing? Do you think Asgore hired a psychopath? So, although Des is the most likely candidate, there's still holes in it. Carol and Noelle couldn't be the knight, as they're in the house when the knight is in the church. Rudy is in the hospital when the knight's in the church, and his illness would make it nearly impossible to do what the knight does. Des is likely, but the motivation isn't there, and there's no explanation on why any of them would become a weird darkness shapeshifter. The knight also doesn't seem to change in the light world, as Susie never mentions that they look different when chasing them into the shelter, and the black shard stays the same. I also doubt any of them could carry Undyne and move her across town in like a minute in their base form, and I also find it unlikely that anyone is working for the knight. Let me get into that real quick, actually. So, Carol is the person on the phone, right? And seems to know what the knight is planning. And Chris coughs at the end of the fight, causing the knight to tilt its head and end it. Seems like they're working for the knight, right? Not exactly. You see, Chris coughing is very likely because they seem to be suffocating when near the knight. The flavor text mentions that you feel lightheaded, you feel a migraine, all that. You'll also only get that last bit of text when you no-hit the fight, implying more that Chris is overstressing their body. So then, why the head tilt? The knight could be taking a signal, sure, but it could also be tilting its head in curiosity, as if it didn't expect Chris to do so well while under so much pressure and stress. The knighting after the fight could be a sign of respect from the knight, granting Chris mercy for doing so well. The knight also not swooning Chris could be because Chris's soul is simply stronger. The soul producing its own titan-killing light could be giving them a slight bit of resistance. Also, swoon just means to faint, so the knight isn't killing Rosie and Susie and sparing Chris, just doing a bit less damage. Chris could also have plot armor, but that's a cop-out even for me. Chris does also do a bit less damage to the knight if everyone else is up, but I see this more as Chris being scared rather than holding back. They also do a normal amount of damage if one of the others goes down. Wouldn't Chris want the others to go down if they're actively trying to lose? Why do better when they're getting the loss they want? As for Carol, her working for the knight doesn't make sense either. She wants her daughter back, right? If the knight is Des, then she already has her daughter. Just take her out of the shelter, right? If not, why help the person who probably trapped Des down there? Which, on that note, the knight is probably why Des is down there in the first place. How else would she have gotten into the shelter? If she was the knight, why not just leave? It's unlikely the shelter can't be opened from the inside, so why not just open the door and get out? Unless that theory that Asgore ran her over and chucked her in there is true, in which case, honestly, Carol would have killed him. Knight or not, Carol would have 100% killed him. There's also the biggest question of all that I've been asking since chapter 1. How does anyone know what a dark fountain is? How did they learn it? When did they learn it? If the knight is one of these people, then how did he know about all of this? Unless there's another option. An option that everyone has discredited from the beginning, one that no one even considers anymore. Maybe the knight isn't anyone from hometown. Maybe the knight is someone new. Okay, I know that sounds a bit insane, right? The knight has to be a Lightner, so it has to be someone in hometown. But does the knight have to be a Lightner? Queen doesn't say that only Lightners can create fountains, just that all Lightners can. This could mean that Darkners can't, Or it could mean that only some of them can. Perhaps only a pure Darknar could make one. Besides, the Night could also be something else. Something more similar to a Titan, perhaps. The Titan on the side in the roaring explanation looks identical to the Night, with the exception of the horns. Titans are also pitch black, like the Night, and don't seem to have a set appearance. Although, Titans are notably non-intelligent, so maybe the Night is a special kind of Titan, one potentially even made by the Angel for the specific purpose of making the fountains. It would explain how the Night is unchanged in the light world, as Titans can inhabit both worlds just fine. It would explain why the Night would want the roaring. It explains why the Night is so unbelievably powerful. Perhaps the connections to death are a red herring, or more hauntingly, maybe the Night is taking pieces of its victims, copying their parts as a threat, or even a trophy of some kind. Carol and Chris might be working to take down the Night. Or, if they are working with it, they're doing it because the Night has death as leverage. The Night is clearly shown as an unknowable and powerful foe, something we can't truly understand. Something that only wants destruction and chaos, something like a Titan. But then, what is a Titan anyway? A manifestation of darkness. The fear of darkness. But I have another idea. An idea that explains everything. One that explains not just the Night, but the Angel too. But I have to preface this. The next part of this video is 1000% just insane crackpot theory territory. I don't fully believe it, but it's fun, and you guys can't be the only one with insane ideas. So, the Night might be an alien from space. Or maybe just like alien as in not of this world. Both? It's complicated. Let me explain. So, the Night has a very interesting connection to space for some reason. Not only is its appearance very alien, one of its attacks, the one everyone says is snowflakes, even though they look nothing like snowflakes, are called stars, which the other bullets being Star Child. Small thing, I know, but just hold on to that thought. The Night also seems to emanate darkness and cold. Not only that, it seems like Chris is suffocating around them, as if the very air is being removed. Like in space, perhaps? The darkness effect around the Night, and even the weird beam thing they do to abduct Toriel, hint hint, has an effect similar to an aurora borealis. Along with that, the north and east winds blow fiercely. Like winter, sure, but perhaps also like where an aurora is found. It could also be that the air is being absorbed by the Night, causing heavy winds. Though that's a bit flimsy, I admit. It would also explain the weird eyeball in the Night's chest. It being an alien would of course give it unnatural anatomy. The song Black Knife also just screams alien to me, though it's likely confirmation bias. There's also the Titans, who in this case would also be aliens. Titans absolutely feel unnatural to me. They don't function like anything we've seen before, and they're likely made of darkness itself. The Titan spawn are also pretty close to aliens, having strange, elongated heads. They're also fetuses? Which, what the fuck? It kind of connects them to a surprising, or not surprising, depending on who you ask, face. That being Gygus from Earthbound. The flavor text that says, "When did you start being yourself?" heavily reminds me of him. Then, of course, there's the Titan itself. It has angelic motifs with the wings and everything, and its face is called a star. Not only that, it's the same shape as the Knight's face, making it possible that the Knight's open face eye thing is also a star. There's also, of course, the fact that the darkest place, one that's always been here, one that you could truly consider darker than dark, is space itself. Specifically, I think a black hole is what the Titans and the Night are meant to be like. Black holes are tears in the fabric of space-time. I know it's more complicated than that, but just listen. Ones that are darker than anything else. Light cannot escape it. Light cannot enter it. Their entity is a pure destruction. And not just that, you could consider them dark fountains, right? Dark fountains are tears in reality that create darkness, and black holes are also tears in reality that create darkness. And just imagine the Titans, the Knights, them being stars. How many other roarings have happened? There's also the other one, the Eldritch God in the room. Yeah, the angel is 100% alien, probably more than the knight is. The angel is clearly godlike, and there's a possibility it made the prophecy. A prophecy which was told across space and time. Across time makes sense, it's old after all, but why across space? Perhaps other worlds were told the prophecy too. That's, of course, another small detail, but it's there, you know? Anyway, the angel seems to be some sort of eldritch entity, one that Susie appears scared of. Ralsei even says that the image is what it actually looks like, as if the general depiction of it is wrong in some way. Perhaps it's something that can't be properly perceived, something eldritch. The Eggman might also be involved somehow. He mentions in his story that he says is his story that the Earth was covered in water, implying that he's been around since before then, and thus before life itself. This man is primordial. No wonder he's been forgotten. What does this have to do with the angel? Well, the angel is likely some kind of god, so it would be something that's existed forever. So maybe it's the Eggman, or related? I don't know, I just wanted to mention the Eggman somewhere, he's so interesting to me. Anyway, in Chapter 4, it's also implied that Chris saw the Eggman at some point. Maybe that's what traumatized them. When they draw what's behind the tree, or at least try to, it's just a mess of darkness. If the Eggman is some incomprehensible alien thing, then yeah, it would make sense that Chris couldn't draw it. This could also just mean that the Eggman specifically is an alien? Yeah, this whole idea isn't perfect. I just really wanted to ramble a bit about the weird amount of space connections I found, no matter how insignificant it'll end up being. So, is the Knight an alien? Probably not. Is the Knight a Titan, or something similar? A lot more likely. Is the Knight Des? Almost certainly. Thank you for watching this, frankly, insane video. I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything, so there's probably millions of things that I missed. Which, if this video blows up, I'm sure y'all will let me know about it. But please, be nice about it. Or at least don't be a dick. I'm really trying my best here. I'm not rage baiting, I'm not purposefully being contrarian. I'm just trying to give an alternative explanation for things. I mean, I offered plenty for Chapter 3 and 4, and lo and behold, I was right about not sticking to specific ideas. These chapters have proven that we cannot predict the future. None of us know Toby. None of us can know exactly what he's planning. We need to stop pretending like certain things are definitive. Some of the info we have could be incomplete, or even straight up wrong. We will just have to wait and see. With that being said, follow my blue sky to see me ramble every 10 seconds, and thank you for watching. See ya!